What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing out there, man? So I'm just taking a walk this morning. Out here I'm in Envigado right now. That's where I live. So yeah, I'm just taking the pup out right now. I want to talk to you guys about something while I have the chance. So yeah, the topic that I want to address today is how my life changed when I got a passport. All right. So I think I got my passport when I was in college. I think it was either my freshman or sophomore year of college is when I got my passport. At that time, I had been out the country on a cruise, but that was it. I think I went to like Jamaica and a couple other islands in the Caribbean, Mexico, on a cruise. But you know, like the cruises, they don't let you stay there usually. I went on one cruise where they did let you stay overnight in the city where they dock at, but most of the time they only have you there for a couple hours. So when I first got my passport, you know, I think the first time I went out the country was to Colombia, actually going and staying somewhere. After that, I went to Mexico, and then I went on a cruise to Cuba, which was awesome. And I also went to Canada, and then in 2018, I ended up going to Europe. And in Europe, let's see, I went to Spain, France, the Netherlands, and Denmark. So, you know, those are pretty much all the countries I've been to. I think I said Canada already. Oh, and Belize. I went to Belize. But yeah, so, you know, my list is not very long in terms of countries I've been to, but, you know, I think what's important here is that when I got my passport, I was able to go places. And once I started to go places, my perspective started to change on a lot of things, especially like political issues, you know. I'm gonna put my mask on, guys, because I'm getting to a little bit of a busy area. But yeah, guys, I started to see like all the different countries in the world and kind of how they do things different from the States. And like, for example, I noticed like in South America, there's not as many rules about everything. Like, you see people, you know, riding around with their baby on a scooter with no seatbelt, no helmet. Now, in the States, there's no way a cop would not stop you for that. There's just no way. They'll stop you for having a baby in a car with no car seat. So, you know, out here, that's just a recommended thing. That's not something that you have to do. So, you know, things like that. When it comes to the rules and what's important to that society, you know, I don't think it's not that important here. I guess that, you know, first of all, there's a lot more poverty here. So the chances of people being able to afford all that type of stuff is just low. You know, another thing is when I started traveling and going out the country, I was always running into hot girls and being able to hook up with hot girls in different countries, even when they didn't speak the same language as me. You know, through like Google Translate, I had my first couple hookups through Google Translate and stuff like that. And then, you know, I just started to fall in love with the different cultures that I was seeing all over the place. Like, I was in Paris one time and I hooked up with this girl from the UK. And man, when I tell you, I love to this day, I love a girl with a British accent or Irish accent. It just drives me crazy, bro. Like straight up, that's one of my favorites. Like and then of course I found my love for the Latin women out here, mainly in Colombia. But it's really more of a thing with the culture, because before this whole coronavirus thing, being out here and in Colombia, or even when I was in Mexico, man, I just love partying with those people. I love going out when I'm in a Latin country. Just going to the bar, grabbing a few drinks, or grabbing a bottle. I love how you can just grab a bottle and just sit down and not need to pay 10 times what the bottle is worth just to get the bottle while you're out. Because in the States, they upcharge any bottles, I don't know, like 10 times of what they cost, maybe 5 times what they cost. But they don't really do that out here, at least not as much. So I like how I think the society is set up for more of the average person, and not so much for the people that the very few people that have money, or a lot of money here. So as a traveler, as someone coming from another country, it's very easy to enjoy and live like a Colombian, and really get a sense of how they experience life out here. So that's great. I love being immersed in that culture. Now, one thing you'll notice when you get that passport, guys, your whole world opens up to all these different cultures. And especially, most importantly, you got a lot more options to date. Once you start breaking up out of the States and dating outside the States, just look at it on the map. The States is only one small piece of the world, of the landmass in the world. So if you start touching these other places, you might find something you like. And you might also find out what I found out, which is that, there's a lot of bullshit when it comes to dating in the States that is not really the same everywhere else. I don't feel like you get as much bullshit when you're dating out here, for sure. I think it's a lot more straight to the point. I think also I noticed, and it's not just with Spanish culture, but also with European culture. But to them, to Europeans and to the Latins, sex is not really a taboo thing, In the States, it might be seen as bad for girls to go out and be promiscuous. But in Europe, I feel like they have a much more open society when it comes to sex, right? It's just more free. They're not judging everybody for having sex or being promiscuous or whatever. I'm sure there's still such a thing as a hoe in every country, but I just feel like people don't try to label you with that like they do in the States. In the States, people love calling somebody a hoe. People love, talking shit about who somebody has sex with or whatever. It's just not even that serious. So, yeah, man, that's a few of the things I noticed. I also got a new kind of outlook on, I got a new perspective on, like my own life and how grateful, I want to be for that life, because I start to see things, people less fortunate than me that have to do much more than me. And especially the main thing is, a lot of these people, they just don't have the opportunities. In America, people want to talk about like Mexicans or whatever. They talk a lot a lot of smack about people in other countries as if they're bad people or they just don't want to work. But it really comes down to the amount of opportunities, in my perspective. Now, in the States, you literally have an abundance of opportunities, right? And it's just not the case, especially in a place like Colombia. That's where I'm gonna speak on, because that's where I'm at right now. But you just don't have the abundance of opportunities that you do when you go to the States. For example, public school is guaranteed. I don't think public school is guaranteed the way it is in the States and Latin America. You know, I think depending on if you come from a really small pueblo, it could be hard for you to find some school or things like that. Or a lot of kids out here, they don't have enough structure to go to school, or maybe their family is so poor they have to go work and they don't have time. Maybe they want to go to school, but they just don't have that opportunity. It's very rare. I never heard of it where a kid has to get pulled out of school to go help their family in the United States, you know, to make money. But that's something that happens out here a lot. So this is an example of the difference in opportunity that I learned about when I got that passport. Now, I also learned that traveling is not the same for everybody. Me having a U.S. passport, ¿cómo está? Me having a U.S. passport, I can travel places pretty much anywhere. There's a few places like maybe like Syria, a couple of places in the Middle East, and Venezuela, Cuba. Those are a few places that are problematic for Americans. But you know, the rest of the world is pretty open. The rest of the world is pretty open. So I'll take that. I'll take having my American passport. Even though I can't really go to Cuba or Venezuela or a lot of Middle Eastern countries, because there are so many other places to go. I can go anywhere in Asia without a problem. Go anywhere in Europe pretty much. So, you know, I learned this because I had a good friend. I have a good friend. He's also a YouTuber, but his name is I Am Marwar, so you could check out his channel. But I met him in Colombia years ago, and he used to always talk to me about his passport and how he always gets issues at every single border. And if you go on his channel, you'll see some of those interactions with the border officials and whatever. But they just tend to give him a lot of issues because he has an African passport, and they feel like a person like him doesn't want to go home. So they feel like he's gonna get over there, wherever country that he's going to, he's not gonna want to come back. So they treat him differently, guys. So I don't agree with that. I wish the world could be a place without borders, honestly. But I understand the borders are also the reason that my American life is so, you know, I get all the benefits of being American because America closed off their borders and banded together to kind of, I guess, compete against the rest of the world, the other countries in the world, for that power. And we've been pretty good at it. So it is what it is, you know. That's just how the world works nowadays. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about my experience getting my passport. Right now I'm in Envigado. Now I'm close to downtown, so I'm gonna turn the camera around and give you guys a quick look of what's going on today in the streets. And now I'm gonna wrap this one up. All right, guys, appreciate you. This is a great place to pay your bills, for real. You can just pull up. You do have to pay in cash, so you can see everybody's out today, man. It's packed. I think there's a holiday this weekend or on Monday or something. So if you know anything about Colombia, they have, I think, the most holidays of any country. Like, so they're like, for a few months, there's like a holiday every single weekend, which would typically be a lot of fun. But since we're dealing with this corona, they're usually just people locked down during the holiday. So, yeah, guys. You know, earlier I talked about the passport and, you know, my experience having a passport. And I just want to quickly say, I haven't had too many issues crossing borders with my passport, except for in Mexico. So in Mexico City, I had a little bit of an issue crossing. It wasn't really an issue, it's just that they were hassling me. And I think it had to do with Trump. And this is right after Trump had first been elected, and he's always talking crap about Mexico and stuff. So I think they just said, you know what, anything coming from the States, we're gonna fuck with them. So, you know, I had to deal with that. And then another quick experience I could talk about to do with the passport. I'm not gonna go into the plaza, but y'all see it's packed. It's kind of a lot of people out today. Another experience I had with the passport is when I went to Belize. So I drove from Mexico, like the Tulum area or Cancun area. I drove all the way down to Belize. It was about 7 or 8 hours. And of course I had a rental car. Now, I didn't know this, but basically, if you're gonna take a rental car to another country, you need to have like some type of paperwork from that rental company, giving you permission to take their car to another country. All right, so I did not have that paperwork to cross with the car. So what had to happen was, unfortunately, I had to pay them off, if you will. You know, I had to throw them a couple extra coins to let me cross with that car. But eventually they did let me cross with the car, and it wasn't much of an issue. It wasn't much of an issue. So, you know, that was an interesting experience. I don't recommend doing that. You don't have to. But yeah, just another thing. But I think they did that. They only let me do that because I was American. If I was from another country in Latin America, there's no way they're gonna let me cross with a car that I don't have the right paperwork for. But, you know, like I told them, you know, why would I want to stay? I guess because they're worried if I'm gonna want to stay or something. So I told them, you know, why would I want to stay here? I'm an American citizen. I have a job in America. You know, I have no want to want to be here. I told them I was just going to see some family. And if you look at me, I think I could pass for a Belizean person. So it was kind of believable. But you know, I had to do what I had to do on that trip, and by the grace of God, we made it through. Actually, that's one of the, I was talking about my friend earlier, I am Marwar. I met up with him in Belize, actually. So, yeah, man, I think some of that might be on his channel, guys, if you want to check that out. But yeah, man, I just wanted to do a quick walk, get Nipsey out, and see what the streets are doing right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all tuning in today, and I wish everybody the best. You know, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, and enjoy these beautiful streets of Colombia. All right, it looks like the police done stopped somebody right here. This is the transit police, guys. This is the worst of the worst. The transit police, from what I heard, are a lot stricter than the other police. We call the other police aguacates, avocados. That's what my homie said. We just refer to the cops as avocados because they wear these big green, bright green vests. And yeah, they just look like avocados on a motorcycle. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, man. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace. Wish everybody the best, man.